Beyond the screens, past the pings, and deeper than the noise of today, there is a frequency that never fades. It is the sound of a voice telling a truth that was true 1,000 years ago and will be true 1,000 years from now. These are the narratives that shaped civilizations, the legends that whispered to our ancestors, and the stories that still live inside us, waiting to be woken up. In a world that moves too fast, we are taking a moment to sit still, to breathe, to co create a world using nothing but the air between us and the power of your imagination. I, Rashmi Shetty, am your host, and this is Once Upon a Time Stories that have stood the test of time. Let's begin. Today's story is the story of Prahlad, an epic saga from the Bhagavata Purana that explores the tension between temporal power and spiritual conviction. It is a narrative defined by the impossible conditions of a boon and the resilience of a little boy's faith. The story begins with the demon king Hiranyakashipu, who was consumed by a desire for revenge against Lord Vishnu. Why? Because Lord Vishnu had killed his brother Hiranyaksha. To become invincible, he performed intense penance and pleased Lord Brahma. When granted a boon, he asked for a clever set of protections, and he thought he could bypass death. His conditions were he could not be killed by any living being created by Brahma. He could not be killed inside or outside any residence. He could not be killed during day or at night. He could not be killed on the ground or in the sky. He could not be killed by any weapon, astra or shastra. Blessed with these conditions, he declared himself the supreme ruler of the three worlds and forbade the worship of any god but himself. While Hiranyakashipu was away performing penance, his wife Kayadu stayed in the ashram of sage Narada. While Prahlad was still in her womb, he heard Narada's chants and teachings about Lord Vishnu. Soon he was born as a Nisarga Bhakta, a natural devotee. As Prahlad started growing up, he refused to acknowledge his father as God. When sent to school, he famously converted even his classmates, teaching them that it is Lord Vishnu who is divine and supreme, and who was more permanent than his father's earthly kingdom. Hiranyakashipu viewed his son's devotion as a personal betrayal and a threat to his own sovereignty. He ordered his soldiers to kill the boy through increasingly creative methods and that were cruel as well. First, he poisoned Prahlad's drink with a very lethal venom, but thanks to Lord Vishnu, it turned into nectar. Next, he placed Prahlad under the feet of wild elephants, but when they came close to him, automatically they refused to step on him and in fact sat beside the little boy Prahlad who was singing Vishnu's bhajans. Prahlad was then thrown from a mountain cliff, but Lord Vishnu caught him in his arms. Finally, Hiranyakashipu went to Holika. His sister Holika had a shawl that protected her from fire. So she told him that she would sit on a bonfire with Prahlad on her lap, intending to burn the little boy. However, there was a wind, and that wind shifted the shawl onto Prahlad. Holika therefore perished, and the little boy emerged unscathed. Finally, reaching a breaking point, Hiranyakashipu dragged Prahlad to the center of his palace. He kicked a massive stone pillar and asked, "If your God is everywhere, is he in this pillar?" Prahlad calmly replied, "Yes, he is." As the king shattered the pillar with his mace, Lord Vishnu manifested in his Narasimha avatar, a terrifying avatar with the body of a man and the head of a lion. Narasimha fulfilled every condition of the boon in order to end Hiranyakashipu's reign. He was half man, half beast, not a creature created by Brahma. He pulled the king to the threshold of the palace, which meant it was neither inside nor outside. It was twilight, neither day nor night. He placed the king on his thighs, neither on the ground or on the sky. He used his fingernails, not an astra or a shastra. The story concludes with Narasimha being so angry that even the gods feared him. Only Prahlad was brave enough to approach him. His gentle touch calmed the avatar, and Prahlad was crowned the new king, leading his people with the same faith and joy that he maintained during his trials. The tale remains a powerful metaphor for both vulnerability and strength. Prahlad had no physical armor, yet his internal alignment made him invincible against the most powerful force in the universe. The key takeaways from this story. First, the power of faith. Prahlad represents that inner voice of conviction that remains steady even in the most chaotic of conditions in life. This story illustrates that while ego, Hiranyakashipu, can gain immense power through logic and loopholes, there is always a higher balance that comes in to restore order. This divine balance is important for us to understand. The third lesson is Prahlad's journey, which is cited as a metaphor for maintaining one's core values against extreme external pressure. Hold on to that resilience. Help is just round the corner, and your faith to the Lord will never let you down. With that, we complete our journey for today. I hope you enjoyed stepping into this story as much as I enjoyed telling it. But remember, a story only lives when it is shared. If these words touched you, please pass them on. Share this episode with someone who might need a moment of wonder today. In a digital world that can sometimes feel a little lonely, let this story be a beacon of smiles and a steady light of hope in your pocket. Let's catch up soon to listen to what happened once upon a time.